the bears in the stock market seem to be all confused and all over the place. But does it mean the bull market is back and we should be expecting new highs in the stock market? Now, this is what we're going to discuss in today's video, guys. We have a crucial week ahead of us, with most markets being at key levels, which most likely this week will dictate the overall direction that those markets will take for the next couple of weeks. So a very crucial video, guys. Make sure you watch until the end. We've had one of the largest options explorations last week, and the setups that we given you in last week's video, guys, were 100% spot on. If you haven't managed to watch last week's video, make sure you go back and watch it, guys. We are back at the trend line here. Very important resistance since January of 2022. Now, what's next? This is what we're going to discuss in today's video, along with all the other markets, guys. The technical analysis for all the other markets to see what we should be expecting for the week ahead. As always, guys, if you do enjoy today's video, please give it a like and share it with anyone else that would find it useful. And if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We do bring out the latest stock market analysis outlook every single Monday morning. And guys, if you are on Discord and would like to join our Discord community, please do so on our website, mcitradingacademy.co.uk. It's a free, it's all free, guys, so make sure you go and join it. It's a great community, guys, with a lot of trading setups given out every single day. So go over to the website and join as soon as you can. Now, let's quickly start off by looking at what happened last week, guys. And last week we discussed about the possibility of this trend line here being resistance again. So we had some great resistance since January of 2022, and we discussed the possibility of being resistance here again, and this is exactly what happened, guys. At the beginning of the week we sold off. Now, where did we sell off to? Sold off right in our key area. This was the first point of support, guys, that we mentioned in last week's video here on the 4 hour. We did mention in last week's video that if we are going to bounce, this is going to be the first level that we are going to bounce off from, the 4 hour IC, and the second one was this one below here. Now, what exactly happened last week, guys? Now, we had a nice sell-off here going right into the 4 hour IC, and we went well below what the lower expected move. We also discussed last week that we've had a high number of options, of put options, at 3,900, and for Wall Street to make the most amount of money was for them to close above the 3,900 level, and that's exactly what happened, guys. We went right into the 4 hour IC, and then on Friday, we've had a bounce from the 4 hour IC right where? Right above the 3,900 level and right above the lower expected move. So this was a perfect opportunity to go long here, guys. Why? Because we know that 68% of the time we close between the upper and the lower expected move for the week. So that was a perfect setup, guys, and I hope you did take advantage of that. If you did take advantage of it, give us a comment in the comment section below, so we are aware that you did take advantage of that as well. Now, in terms of the week ahead, guys, what we should be expecting and looking out for. In terms of the economic data, we don't have a lot of data this week, and the Fed is in its blackout period, guys. So pay attention to that, because the Fed is not allowed, none of the Fed members are allowed to communicate with the media until the 1st of February when we have the FOMC meeting. That's next week, not this week. Now, in terms of the economic data, guys, we have the Chinese market. We have the Chinese New Year on Monday and Tuesday, so the Chinese markets will be closed, so there will be less liquidity for the Asian sessions. And then in terms of the economic data, we don't have a lot, as I mentioned, to go to this week. Also on Wednesday, the Chinese market will be closed as well. However, what we do have will be on Thursday. Yeah, on Thursday we got some data here on Thursday. The GDP data is very important at 1:30 UK time. Okay, not market moving, but it's still very important to pay attention to. And then on Friday, guys, we have the core PCE data. Again, I don't think the markets will move a lot from this. However, if the data is way too elevated from the forecast here, then we may have some big moves following that. Next, guys, we do have earnings. I forgot to mention this in last week's video, but this week, guys, we have some very important companies reporting the results. First of all, we have Microsoft reporting the results on Tuesday after the market closes. So, guys, you need to pay attention to this. The tech companies have suffered a lot over the last couple of months. So if however, their results have managed to keep up with expectations. However, if we start to see results now, their earnings results taking some beating here, we may see a drop in those companies. And guys, Microsoft and Tesla, okay, we have Tesla also reporting on close after the close on Wednesday. Now they represent a large portion of the S&P 500. So if those companies disappoint, guys, and they sell off after the shares sell off after the announcement, then do expect that the whole of the S&P 500 to take a beating on that. So pay attention to that, guys. It's going to be very important. We also have DR Photon here, guys. Also, I think something to pay attention to. This is a housing company. Now, remember, every single recession, every single financial crisis has started with what? With the housing market. So if the housing market is taking a beating, if there's going to be a recession and we're going to have that financial crisis that some of us are anticipating, and we start to see that in the housing market, people are not buying their houses, people are perhaps falling short on paying their mortgages and so on, then that will be a first signal to be on guard for the year ahead. So something to watch out for the year ahead, guys. So let's go back into the charts and have a look at the S&P 500, what we should be expecting for the week ahead. Now, first of all, guys, we are back into this trend line here, okay, with a lot of expectations. Everyone's been watching this trend line, a lot of expectation that this trend line will be broken. Now, if we were to look at the weekly time frame here for a second, guys, now what have we done here from a weekly perspective here? We've got a lower low, lower high, lower low, okay, and we've got the lower high here, and we not managed to make a new low here. So all we're looking for this week, guys, which is going to be very important, are we going to get a break of structure on the weekly? That will be the first sign to say that the bull market is back. If we don't get that, okay, we are still in a downtrend, guys, on the higher time frame. So be very careful of this, okay? We are not in the bull market yet on a higher time frame perspective. Now, where are we in terms of the weekly time frame, guys? We are stuck between the 20, the 50 here and the 20 EMA, okay? We haven't, unless we see a break below or above and a close below or above those moving averages, we don't have a direction yet, okay? And we surely don't have a bullish direction until we manage to close above here and close above this line here. It's around 4,070 or so. We need to see a close above this level this week in order to say that the bull market is back, and we should look out for new highs. Now, we do have plenty of liquidity resting above here, okay, above this level of 4,160. So, and if we are to look out on smaller time frames here, guys, on the 4-hour time frame here as well, what we should be looking out for. Now, we've got the two levels that I'm watching here, guys. Okay, so we've got this 2-hour IC here sitting at around 4033 or so, and we also have the upward expected move here as well. So are we going to see a move higher here, clear the liquidity above this area here, and then consolidate here? It will be a nice short to take from there. Okay, if we do make it up there, perhaps at the beginning of the week, or are we going to go back here and perhaps break below this 4-hour IC? Now we had, as I mentioned before, we had a nice reaction out of this. Now are we going to see more downside potential? Now think about this, guys, and remember that every time we go below the lower expected move, dynamic hedging may take place, which may push the prices a lot lower. So if we manage to go below this, okay, perhaps at the beginning of the week or at any point during the week, we may get more downside pressure. Now guys, the level I'm watching would be this one here, this 4-hour IC. If we break below this 4-hour IC, guys, which sits at around 3820, then I will expect new lows in the S&P 500. New lows in the S&P 500. Remember that, guys. So this level here is crucial. If we manage to break this, then we're going lower. If we don't manage to break this, we may see some consolidation and perhaps we're going higher and we break the trend line. Okay, so watch very, very careful. Now in terms of what are we expecting for next, it's if we do go higher and we break this 2-hour IC, guys, again we go above this upper expected move. Again, dynamic hedging may take place and we push the prices above this liquidity area here, and we have a nice 8-hour IC here, the white sitting right here at 4180 or so. So if we do go higher, then that will be one level that I'll be watching, okay, for a possible short. But until that happens, guys, if you look at this, we are in a nice consolidation range here, so not a lot happening until we break above or below those levels here. And if we are to go to a 1-hour time frame, we are starting to get a bit overbought here. We're starting to get divergences that are building here, and we have a 1-hour IC here. So if you do go higher, then also watch this 1-hour IC here for a potential short. Next, guys, we get the UK 100, guys, and here this is exactly as we discussed over the last couple of weeks. We managed to clear the liquidity that was resting above here from the weekly chart, and we still have some more liquidity resting above here. Now, what are we looking for in here? We've had resistance here, massive resistance, very strong resistance. We broke that resistance. Are we coming back to test this resistance and then going to clear that liquidity that's resting above there? That is certainly a possibility. However, guys, look at this from a daily perspective. Okay, we are about to get a sell signal. Now every time we got a sell signal on the daily here, guys, here we go on big downside, here we go on big downside momentum. Okay, so if we do get that sell signal here, guys, I think we're going to see more downside here, only if we're going to get a sell signal. And if we are to look at the 8-hour time frame, when we broke below the 20 EMA here, and now this is acting as resistance. So if this is able to hold, and we're able to block below the 50 as well, and that will act also as resistance, plus we get that sell signal, I believe that we'll have more downside to come. And the first target will be this 8-hour IC here, sitting at 7347 or so, 7350 or so actually. Yeah, so pay attention to that. We may have some downside, some downside pressure here before we go and clear that liquidity resting above there. So watch out for that, guys. Also, however, if we don't get that sell signal and we go higher, well, at that point we'll have what will be most likely overbought with negative divergences. So that will definitely be something to watch out for a short that is to happen. Next, guys, we get the DAX here, and guys, this is exactly as we mentioned last week. We discussed last week that the weekly chart had what? Previous support turns into resistance. And what did we get here, guys? We get a doji. Last week we ended up as a doji. As a doji, or what? We got an indecision candle where at a key level. So we need to watch this week to make sure to give us the overall direction of where the market wants to go. Are we going to get a new high here, and that's it, decision made, so we're going higher into this weekly IC here, or are we going to get more downside pressure, decision made, and we are going lower? Now in terms of if we are to go lower, where do we expect price to go, guys? Exactly as I mentioned, I've got two ICs here, one sitting at around 14,530 or so, and one sitting at 14,100 or so. Those are the levels that I'm looking for them to hold to go low. If those levels don't hold, then yes, again, we'll see more downside pressure, guys. Okay, and if we are to look at a smaller time frame here, especially the 8-hour time frame here, guys, we need to, what we're looking for, guys, is for those two moving averages to break, but not just to break. We need to break and then for price to come back and those moving averages to act as resistance. If they don't act as resistance, guys, then we don't have a trade. Okay, so break, come back as resistance, so something like this. Let me just show it for you. Okay, so we need to see price shopping below, okay, and then come back here and then have some rejection over here. If we see that rejection, that's where we go short, okay, and get to our target. Okay, if we don't, then we don't have a trade. Okay, so that's something that I'm looking for the week ahead, guys. Next we have the Dow Jones, the US 30, and what we should be expecting over here. Now, guys, remember what we discussed over the last couple of weeks. We discussed that on the weekly time frame here, especially, I was looking, if I was to turn bearish, I was looking for price to do what? To break below the 20 and the 50 EMA. What happened last week, guys? We went right to the 20 and the 50 and then bounced off there. Okay, bounced off there. And if we are supposed to go on the 4-hour time frame, exactly as I mentioned in the video last week, guys, I was looking for the 4-hour IC for price to bounce off it. Okay, and that's exactly what happened, guys. If you manage to take this trade, give us a comment in the comment section below, please, because we've mentioned that in last week's video, and that's exactly what happened. So we had a nice reaction from the 4-hour IC here, went down, and then we bounced off it right here. Now, guys, there's two things that I'm watching here. Again, going back to the weekly time frame, we need to see if we are going to break below. If we break below and we have a close below those two moving averages on the weekly, then we'll get more downside pressure. However, if we don't, then the new highs are on the cards here for sure. Now let's go back to the 4-hour time here for a second, guys. So we've had that bounce here. Why? Also because we had this. I mean, we were oversold here with positive divergences. So that, looking at the 1-hour time frame and then the 4-hour time frame, we have the 4-hour. I see there, that was a perfect buying opportunity. Now, what are we looking for the week ahead? Now the price is stuck here. And even if we have to look at the 8-hour, I see here 8-hour time frame here, guys, we are in a big consolidation, and we've been in a big consolidation range for a while here. So now what I'm looking for, I need to see a break above or below this range just to see where price may go. Now imagine this, imagine we break below here and we come into this 8-hour IC at some point during the week, and then we may have a bounce from here. Okay, so we've got plenty of liquidity resting below here, so a breakdown below here, clearing the liquidity into the 8-hour IC here with some positive divergences. Now that will be a perfect opportunity to do what? To go long. If this 8-hour IC does not hold, then we may see lower downside pressure, and at that point we may also close below the 20 and the 50 on the weekly time frame, so watch out for that. If we manage to break above this area here and go higher, where are we expecting us to go? Well, we put this 8-hour IC here. Actually, it's a 4-hour IC. right here, right at around 35,617 or so. So if we do go higher, guys, there's plenty of liquidity that's resting above here. I'm expecting price to go there. Okay, at the moment, as you can see, big consolidation range here, so we need to see a break above or below this. Next, guys, we get US 100. And guys, here, as I mentioned over the last couple of weeks, where are we? Well, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So we're still in a downtrend, guys. Okay, so everyone's getting so excited about, okay, let's say new bull market, all-time highs now. The higher time frame is still in a downtrend. So unless that switches, okay, we need to look for long-term short opportunities. Once we get that break of structure, and there's a possibility we may get that this week, especially if we have good earning results, okay, then we'll switch our narrative. But for now, there's nothing in those terms yet. What is price doing? Well, price it's stuck. It's finally managed actually to go above and just literally closed above the 20 EMA. Now it's got obviously a lot of resistance from the 50 here on the weekly. It needs to make it all the way up there. As it stands, guys, okay, we've had a nice reaction out of the daily IC here. And if we are to look at the 1 hour time frame, we are right in where? Right in this 1 hour IC here, okay, with negative divergences, a sell signal as well. So maybe a short-term short opportunity for now, okay, that will occur, that is occurring as we are recording the video, to be honest. So that will be on the cards here, okay, and targeting perhaps this our IC here, or the liquidity that is resting below. Same situation here, guys. Okay, so we are in short term, we are bullish here. Now, for this 4 hour IC that I'm looking at, okay, and if we are to break above that, okay, then we put another IC resting right here, right at around 12,750 or so. Okay, so those are the two levels that I'm watching, okay, and again, if we are to break down, then this 4 hour IC here sitting at around 10,790 or so. That's crucial to hold. If that doesn't hold, guys, then new lows are certainly on the cards. Now let's look at the VIX, and the VIX here, guys, is something very, very interesting that I've noticed over the weekend here. Now look at this. Every single time, I mean, over the last couple of times that we've closed the week as a doji, we've had a massive move higher. This happened over here in August. We closed as a doji, then a move higher. Over here in April, doji, move higher. Back in January last year, doji, and then a move higher. So are we going to be expecting a move higher here? That's certainly on the card, so pay attention to that, guys. Okay, the VIX is quite low as it stands, so a move higher wouldn't be out of the ordinary. And if we get a move higher on the VIX, we may get a lot of pressure in the on the stock market, on the S&P 500. Next, guys, we get the DXY, and guys, this is exactly as we planned out, as we mentioned last week. We managed to close below the trend line. We've done what? We've retested the trend line. Okay, so close below, we retested the trend line, and then we may be going into this daily IC here, guys, as it stands. So pay attention to this, okay, guys. We've called this daily IC, as we've mentioned before. So if we come here and then consolidate, we may get to move higher. And levels I'm watching is, are we going to go above this trend line and that was just a fake breakout and then we're going higher, or is this trend line here acting as strong resistance, come back, retest it once more, and then we're going lower at that point? So that's something to watch out for the week ahead. We are pretty oversold. Dollar has taken, you can see, quite a beating over the last couple of weeks and months here. So a bounce higher wouldn't be out of the ordinary, guys. So pay attention to that. Perhaps at some point we may get some move at some point this week. See, we're getting positive divergences that are building here, so a move higher wouldn't be out of the ordinary at all. Next here, we've got gold here, and guys, we smashed this, 100% smashed this. Okay, we talked about this level here over the last couple of weeks, and we are getting right into it, guys. With what? With negative divergences and a possible sell signal. So if we manage to get to this daily IC here, okay, consolidate here, we may be able to get a nice short position, guys. So this may happen this week or over the next couple of weeks. So pay attention to this level here. We may be able to get, as I said, a nice short position. We're getting pretty overbought there with negative divergences and a possible sell signal. Another thing that I'm looking at, guys, is this chart over here, JPYUSD. And here we have a massive run here with the weakening of the dollar and the strength of the JPY. Now, here we've got this trend line here. So obviously we've been in an uptrend here with higher highs and higher lows. And now we've got this trend line here that seems to be holding. It has been holding for a while here on the daily time frame. However, we are getting negative divergences, and if we are to get some strength in the US dollar, guys, okay, that will push this all the way down. So we'll have a break of structure, a break of the trend line with some negative divergences and a possible sell signal at that point as well, some strong sell signal. So watch out for this as well. I think it's going to be a very interesting trade if we do break below that trend line, and if the dollar is due to strengthen. Next, guys, we get Bitcoin over here, and guys, I mean, look at this. We've had a massive run here. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but this again is not out of the ordinary. Why? Because everyone was so bearish on it. Now we are getting everything that we need. We are getting overbought with negative divergences. Is this the right time to go long? In my opinion, no, not as it stands. We need to see a pullback first for the indicator to pull down a bit, and then we may be looking for to go long for the long term. Now, what I'm hearing on the street, guys, is that they pump Bitcoin so they can dump it one last time to get all that liquidity that is resting below this level here, okay? And at that point, getting it between 12 to 14K, then that's when they go pump it all the way up higher. So I think we'll have one last dump before a nice buying opportunity. I mean, look at this. The weekly time frame here, we get what? We're getting the 200 EMA here, resistance, and we're getting the 50 as well as resistance as well. So a lot of resistance. If we do manage to close above those two this week, then I think it will become even more overbought. But then that will be a sign that the bulls are definitely back at that point. So watch that, okay? But I think we'll have some very strong resistance as it stands here, guys. Plus, we are getting very, very overbought on both the daily and the other time frames as well. So a pullback here wouldn't be expected, and then, as I mentioned, a lot of liquidity resting here. So I wouldn't be surprised for price to make it all the way down here. At that point, everyone will be so disappointed that wasn't the bull run that they were expecting, and they will be like, I'm not buying anymore. That's it. I'm giving up. And at that point, that's when the market will take everyone by surprise and go back perhaps to 50, 60 or 100K. So at that point, all the retail traders will be, that's it, I'm not buying anymore, this is a scam, whatever it is, and then they'll pump it again. So something very exciting times to come perhaps for the year ahead with Bitcoin. That's pretty much it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you are new to trading and would like to learn more about the strategy that we use, head over to our website, mcitradingacademy.co.uk, where you can inquire about the mentoring courses, the one-to-one mentoring courses that we offer, and you can also join our free Discord community. Thank you very much, guys, and be safe out there.